maggot feeder fishing, a great way to keep them bites coming in the winter months and generally all year round as well. So we'll just plop this in here, watch it hit the bottom, and we're fishing. And as I was saying, a maggot feeder, it's a great way to keep them bites coming in the colder months, especially on rivers, commercials, lakes, wherever you're going. And the setup, it can remain pretty similar for pretty much anywhere. And we'll just tighten up to that. And we're fishing. Hopefully it'll wrap around soon and we can see the advantages of the maggot feeder. Now in this video today, we'll be covering everything from the rods, the reel, all the tackle you need, from the feeder, the hooks, the line, everything, the bait you need, and then going in more depth in things such as casting and the river itself. When you're fishing the maggot feeder, it's pretty important to keep casting regularly, because obviously the maggots are alive and they crawl out the feeder, which is the whole point of it. They create a nice little trap around your hook bait and should draw lots of fish in. Now today, as I've probably already said about 10 times, I'm on, let's just get this cast out first. We're just plopping it in that deepest bit of the peg there. Anyways, I'm on the local river again. You probably saw it a lot of times on the channel if you're a regular watcher. And we're just after whatever bites. Could catch anything from trout, chub, perch, minnows, roach, whatever. I'll take anything really, especially today. It's absolutely freezing. Now I've used maggot feeders all over the country, from little streams like this one to massive rivers like the Trent, using 120 gram maggot feeders. So it just shows they're not just for small fish. You can also catch big fish on them like barbel and carp, but you can use them for pretty much whatever you want to do. Now, your own watercraft is probably the most important thing when you're fishing feeders on rivers like this one. It's a waste of time going anywhere shallow with fast flowing and really shallow water. You want to be targeting the deeper areas like this. It's at least 6 foot deep probably, and a big deep shelf on either side, and the fish, they just live in the deepest part of the river. So that's why we're targeting these pegs today. It's an extremely simple setup. We've just got a tiny little bang stick with one of them on. I'm not sure what to call them. A feeder rest. And we've just got the rod nice and high up, obviously because we're fishing a river. Then we've got the maggots there, just a pint or so of red maggots, perfect for this little session today. Hopefully we'll get a bite soon. Now the tackle itself, when maggot feeder fishing, it couldn't get any simpler really, especially for small rivers. I've just got some random 3000 size reel on there. Doesn't matter what reel you use, and that's paired up with 6 pound line. The reason I'm fishing quite heavy is because there's a lot of snags in there, and we could always hook something big as well. I've got a 10 foot feeder rod, nice and short, so I can get in all the tight swims. And then you can pretty much use this feeder setup for any type of fishing you want to do, whether it's on a lake, a river, whatever. I've just got a buffer bead, and then running into the buffer bead is a free running snap link and swivel, and then that's down to probably, I don't know, 18 inches or so, 4 pound fluorocarbon, the size 16 hook on, and that's just with a few maggots. I wouldn't use too small a hook when feeder fishing, even in winter, because the fish can be quite shy biting, but you do need quite a big hook on, so you can hook up the fish and the hook themselves. Now casting, it's probably the most important part of feeder fishing in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. There's also lots of other things that factor in, but I think it is the most important, especially on rivers like this where the fish are quite shy. So we could just cast in the middle, which we have been doing today as well, because it is the deepest part of water, but there's also a few sticks there just sticking out the water, and I like to put it right in front of them where species like chub like to hide. And again, we're just tightening up just so we've got a tiny bend in the tip so we can see if we get any dropbacks or anything. Now, telling what a bite is and what a bite isn't, if the feeder's just rolling along the bottom on a river or it's a line bite, genuinely, when you have a fish bite, it's a load of sharp tugs, unless it's a bigger fish like a carp, a bream or something, and it's just like a slow wrap round. But like on a river, if the feeder's rolling along the bottom, you'll be able to tell because it's not rattly like a fish, it's just a slow motion. Same as a line bite really. The tip goes tight and then it just springs back. And that's not a fish, it's just fish hitting into the line. So make sure you don't strike at line bites and at feeders rolling along the riverbed. Bait choice for maggot feeder fishing, it's kind of in the name. You need a good few maggots. And we've had these for a while, so we need to get them fired in really. And we can get plenty round in the feeder, so all you need is a few maggots, potentially worms for the hook if you want to, pinkies or anything like that. But I always just stick with maggots really. Now, probably 99% of you probably already know this, but I always put the maggots on the hook before you fill the feeder. And that's just because by the time you faff around, putting them on the hook, try not to burst them, they'll probably all crawl out the feeder by the time you're ready to cast in. So if you do it that way around, you can be a lot more efficient and make the most of your fishing. Now, unfortunately, that's going to have to be it for today. It's only been a really short session and I obviously haven't managed anything. Kind of expecting it though, because it's absolutely Baltic today. Honestly, it must be about lucky if it's over freezing with this wind chill. It's not been warm at all for the last week or so, so that's why the fishing's so hard I think at the minute. But anyways, I hope you learned something from all that and you can take it into your own fishing. Now also, please subscribe to the channel, it does mean a lot to me. Let's get me to 2,000 subscribers. Thanks very much guys, see you in the next one. Hopefully, catch a few more fish.